Make sure you copy these definitions. It's very important to know your definitions and what and an or statement is. So remember, for this one, we have an and statement, and our and statements are intersections or overlapping regions. So, for example, what they mean by overlapping regions is this two right here and that 6 are starting points and our endpoints, but they are not included in this situation. And this is where they're overlapping. They means they collide. So all the answers are here. So this is all x is greater than 2. This is x is less than 2. On the bottom graph, if you notice, the only difference between it is that now here we have the equal part. So that means these are filled in circles. So and statements are always going to collide with each other. And 99% of the time, they will give you to a statement that looks like this. They usually don't write the and. That's our job to do, it to separate them, like we're going to do in the next couple examples. The only difference between this and this one is that now these have equal. That means filled in circle. That means the ends, the starting point and the end point are part of the solution. For the or inequalities, which we will not get to today, we'll get to that tomorrow, is the union of two separate regions. What does that mean? Well, that means that you're saying x is less than 2, which is all the numbers to the left of that, not including 2 for this example. Or it could be all the answers that are greater than 6. That means to the right. So all the numbers in between here, the 3, the 4, the 5, and all the decimals in between are not part of your solution. The only answers that will work will be to the left of that 2, not including 2, and to the right of 6, not including 6, because there's no equal sign. But if you include an equal sign, now those two endpoints are part of the solution. So these are how our and statements will look like. This is how our or statements will look like. So for these problems, we're going to solve each compound inequality. And a compound inequality is basically, remember, a statement that's an and statement or an or statement. These two are going to be and statements. We're going to graph their solution and write the domain in interval notation. So there are 3 things you need to do for these problems. When you first start working on this problem, you basically have 2 inequalities. The first inequality is this piece right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to switch the inequality. What I mean by that is you're going to have x plus 2, and then you're going to switch the inequality and the 4. So you're basically flip-flopping this and switching this inequality right there. So switch positions and switch the direction of your inequality. So it reads the same thing. See how it's opening up to the x plus 2? So it still has to open up. So this is saying x plus 2 is greater than 4. So right here, x plus 2 is greater than 4. On the second inequality, which is still our and statement, we're going to have, this is our second inequality. So we're going to have x plus 2 is less than 8. Now we're just going to solve each one. So we're going to subtract 2 from both sides for the red inequality. And we're going to have x is greater than or equal to 2. That is our first inequality and solution. Subtract 2 from both sides for the blue inequality. And now we're going to have x is less than or equal to 6. That's my other solution. And now we're going to plot them. Okay, so this one says, if you remember, the little equal sign means filled in the circle because it means part of the answer. And we have brackets. So at 2, I'm going to put a circle, fill it in. And that statement up here is saying that x is greater or equal to 2. So all the numbers that are greater than 2 are to the right. And then we're going to go to 6. Again, it says fill in the circle because of that equal sign. And we're going to have brackets. So we're going to fill in the circle. And this statement is saying all x is less than or equal to 2. All the numbers that are less than 6 are to the left. And if you notice, they are going to be overlapping, aka colliding. So all your solutions are all the numbers, all the fractions, all the decimals in between these two numbers, including 2 and including 6. So now we have to write our domain for this in interval notation. Domain, you always write from the smallest number that we know, which is 2, to the biggest number that we know, which is 6. So we're going to have from 2, including 2, this is why we use a bracket, comma, to 6, including 6. That's why we have a bracket. For B, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to switch our inequalities. We're going to have two inequalities. We're going to have our left inequality, and we're going to have our right inequality. For our left inequality, remember we're going to switch. So we're going to flip-flop the answers and switch the inequality. So x minus 3 is greater than or equal to negative 2. Our other inequality is going to be x minus 3 is less than 5. We're going to add 3 to both sides to the green inequality, because now we're going to solve it. And we're going to have x is greater than or equal to 1. That is one inequality. Now we're going to go to our left inequality, which is our pink one. We're going to add 3 to both sides, which is just what we're doing with the last month or more. X is less than 8 is my other inequality. And now we're going to plot our graph. Since this one has an equal sign again, that means fill in circle brackets. So at 1, I'm going to fill it in, and I'm going to go back and read my statement. And my statement says that x is greater than or equal to 1. So all the numbers that are greater than 1 are to the right. So we're going to have that statement. And then I'm going to go to 8. And if you notice, this one does not have an equal sign. So that means open circle, parentheses. So I'm going to have an open circle on 8, a parentheses. And this one says x is less than 8. All the numbers that are less than 8 are to the left side. This is saying that all my answers are in between these two numbers, including 1, but not 8. So when I do my domain is going to be from the smallest number to the biggest number. So it includes 1 all the way to 8, but not 8. And this is the answer of the problem that you guys did independently. So I'm going to have you just look at it and compare your answers. This is what you did in class.